Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode here from yours truly, Gwiglet. Now, today we're going to be looking at a very specific but very important strategy that I've noticed and have developed over the last decade or more of teaching, and it is 5 key tips to mastering any text, whether that's GCSE, that's A-level, university or beyond. If you manage to master these 5 things, you cannot go wrong when it comes to getting a really successful performance out of any text. But before we go any further, be sure to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment below as well on any text you'd like me to cover. I'd like to thank my followers and subscribers, all of those that have helped to make Gwiglet even greater than it already is, and we are going from strength to strength. So, when you have a text, when you have any given text, you want to think about where I'm going to go with it, and I'm going to give you a sort of 5-point plans, 5 tips, the way you want to go through any given text to get full mastery of it, a really successful performance. Where you start with any text, first step is the plot. Just understand the plot in its most basic form. Now, a little tip you can do and a little strategy, a task you can do at this point, make sure you've understood the entire plot and summarize it. Summarize it if you imagine in almost a Wikipedia style entry what you think the plot is from beginning, middle and end. Make sure you've got the characters' names, make sure you've got the key events in there, make sure you have every single point you need in order to fully grasp the plot itself. Don't think about quotes right now. Don't think about themes. They come later. What's really important is understand the basic plot itself of what exactly it is you are studying. When you've got that right, a lot of everything else falls into place. It has to start with the plot though, because if you don't know the plot, what is the point of knowing the quotes that come with any specific character or at any specific time? So that's really, really important in terms of what you've got. Now, once you've got the plot right, the second point of where you want to go is really important, and that's characters. So with characters, you now know your plot. Where do the characters fit in? Let me take Macbeth, for example. So with Macbeth, we know we start with our witches, we then go to Duncan, we then go to Macbeth and Banquo. What are these characters like? What do they bring to the play or the novella or the novel? How does their appearance impact the overall plot? So think about these characters, their personalities, their key traits, their attributes, their relationships with other characters is also really important. Another little task you can do at this point is really simple ones that have happened before. I've seen very effective mind maps in the past. I've seen character profile studies. They really, really work well. Don't worry necessarily again about quotes at this point. If you feel more confident, go for it. That's absolutely fine. But what you want to make sure you're doing is just having your understanding of the plot and then adding to that with the characters themselves. Once you've got the plot checked, once you've got the characters checked, you've got a lot of that text already in your grasp. So it's really important to make sure that you're actually carrying on with those as they are for the best success. Now, here's the important point, and this is the step that students often get confused in my experience. Once you have the plot and once you have the characters, then and only then would you want to start with the quotes. People think about quotes and techniques. They're really important. Don't get me wrong at all, they're really important. But as I just said earlier in this video, if you don't know where the quotes connect in the play or novella or text, then there's no point in knowing them because they're an abstraction. They exist outside of the text. So once you've got the plot, once you've got the characters, that's when the quotes come in. Now, anybody who's been a student of mine or I've taught in the past will know that I recommend that any quote should be no longer approximately than 6 to 8 words. It could be parts of a longer text that you chunk up with a 3-dot ellipsis, but try and keep it that length. Now, the reason being is it will not only help with retaining memory, but it's also important in terms of simplicity. It really helps with that. Quotes are the beating heart of a lot of responses, and they really, really help to boost your performance. But they only mean so much if you can attribute them to a character and a specific point in the play or the text or the novel. Quotes come in there. A little saying I have in my classes is quotes mean marks. Quotes are going to really help build your performance, but it's only then that you're going to really have to use them. So quotes come in third, but not before plot and not before characters. We have our first 3 in the bag. We know we need to build on plot, we know we need to build on characters, we know we need to have our quotes there. After that comes the themes. Themes often are the foundation of which a lot of questions are based upon in exams. Themes will help in your understanding in general. Themes are kind of like the icing on the cake. What I mean by that is, if you've got the other 3 points there, then you can start to think about, for example, witchcraft or kingship or violence in Macbeth. You can start to think about the American Dream in Gatsby, as I recently did a video on, you can check out on the channel. That's where themes are important. And if you need to then do, for example, a simple mind map on themes or a timed list, I think giving yourself timings really helps as well, just as a side point for practice, because then when you're timing yourself, you can go, right, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. You build your performance over time. So it's a good little trick, I think, there. So that's where themes come in. You go plot, you go characters, you go quotes, and you go themes. The fifth point to really gain mastery of any text is practice. The more practice you have, the more practice you go through, the better your overall performance will be. Now, when I say practice, I mean kind of two things in this regard. I mean practice in terms of rereading. A lot of students will say about watching film versions or watching a theatre production, and they have value, don't get me wrong, they absolutely have value, but they have to be in relation to rereading it. There's always going to be a production that misses a point out, or misses a scene out, or misses a particular chapter or character. So it's important that you augment that watching a production or a film version with the actual text. So practice through rereading and practice through exam practice questions. There are online a wealth of exam questions that you can go through, check, work through, and do those in time conditions. I say that from personal experience. When I was a student myself, I would time my conditions and practice. The more you practice, the better you get used to the time conditions. The more you get used to the time conditions, the better your overall performance will be when it comes to the real thing. So that's really, really important. But that is the method I would go through, and now the 5 steps to achieving mastery for yourself on any text. Thank you very much as always for tuning in to GUIGLIT. It's been a bit of a different video today. I hope it's been useful. Please leave a comment in the comment section below if there's anything you'd like me to cover or I can help with. Don't forget to subscribe across Instagram and TikTok and Twitter. That's where GUIGLIT can be found also. And until next time, take care, all the very best, and bye-bye.